We are back. It's so good to see you. Thank you so much for watching in replay mode. And today is going to be a great conversation with Stephanie and I. We're so glad that you can join us. We're always here Tuesday at 10 a.m. and we would love for you to invite anyone who is curious. But today's conversation, we're going to be talking about it's not the algorithm. If you're getting crickets on your posts, it may not just be the algorithm. And we're going to talk through some tips for some ways that maybe you can show up on your social media side of things. So it's going to be a great conversation. Just really quick, introduce myself. My name is Elizabeth Doss, and I'm a social media consultant as well as an animated GIF creator. I'm a motion graphic designer helping brands and businesses leverage the power of Giphy and GIFs to have another place to show up in this wide world of social media, that when somebody types something in GIF search, your brand could be what pops up and they would get to know you through GIFs, which is bananas, but it's also a great way to engage with people. So I love talking about it. If you're curious, please reach out to me, and you can go to my website, izzyinkstudios.com, for more information, or follow me on most platforms at Izzy Inc. And I'm going to hand things over to Stephanie to introduce herself, and then we will get started.
Well, I don't spark joy the same way Elizabeth does, but I'm Stephanie Gillis Pilgard. I'm the brand architect behind Take Roots Consulting. We celebrated 10 years this year. I can't even believe it when I think about it. So, helping small businesses, nonprofits, brands essentially telling their stories across both those traditional ways, the media, the PR, the news releases, all that good stuff. And then, yes, that wide, vast world of social media. And how do you take an integrated marketing strategy and literally have this approach that hits all of those platforms, those channels that you are using or have access to every single day to get your story out there, to get more eyes and ears, and to engage in conversation. And hopefully that results in conversion. Today's conversation is so funny because when we were thinking about, hey, what do we talk about, and it always seems to come back to the same thing. Like, people get stuck, they get stuck and they go, well, listen, I'm trying to do these things and nothing's happening. And so, Elizabeth, when you said, you're posting and you're hearing crickets, and why is that? There could be, and there likely are, many reasons as to why that's happening. First and foremost, we have to give ourselves grace as we enter into this conversation, because we're all juggling. We're juggling life, we're juggling business. Maybe we're juggling the side hustle that we want to turn into a business while we're working full time and doing all of the other things. And this doesn't just happen overnight, it does take time. But the beauty is, right now, with the tools that are available to small business owners, to nonprofits, to solopreneurs and bigger businesses as well, these free tools, right, called social media, and how you're showing up there. It's quite an interesting conversation. We're going to dive in a little bit more into some tips and tricks, but I want to hand it off to you, Elizabeth, first. You said it in your intro, and I am one of those people that loves my branded gifts. I use those as a way to engage or react to other people's, content. What do you think are the key things when people are using, whether they're branded gifts or not? As we talk about, it's not the algorithm. It might actually be you. How can they use what you're creating each and every day for brands already?
Yes. So I love that you threw it back to me just like that. Um, we I was thinking about this idea that a lot of people want to treat social media like it was several years ago, in the sense of you just broadcast your idea or your thing out into the world, and everybody comes running to see it, or that type thing. And so, but one major part, and it's in the title, and it's something Stephanie says over and over again, um, that unfortunately for you, social media is social. Let that sink in for a second. Social media is social. So this isn't like TV ads or radio broadcasts where you're just broadcasting it to an audience that's automatically seeing it. The point of it is that there has to be a social function to what you're doing. So just as much as you are getting attention, you've got to go and give attention in the currency of this world. And so one great way to do that is by commenting on other people's posts and DMing and interacting on social. It actually raises that metric. So it's not just you broadcast, but the algorithm is seeing, oh, they're interacting with this person. That person likes their stuff. Like there's this web of conversations that are happening, whether it's in DMs, those do count. DMing does count as a form of social media. But there's also the commenting. And that's one great place that the GIFs work. And you don't have to have your custom GIFs. Sorry, there's a lawnmower out right outside my window right now. You don't have to have your custom GIFs to be able to do this. You can do this with the GIFs that are already there. I see some of my highest interactions from when I watch a post that makes me laugh and it makes me think of this other thing and post it. For instance, and so I'll go into the comment section, and instead of just typing in a comment, I'll go to the GIF button and I will post a GIF on that content. Well, sometimes the comment that I post on that feed gets more likes than the not the feed, not the post itself, but I get notifications for when people like it. I've had more than one GIF comment get hundreds of likes. And that again is still a currency of interaction on social that shows you're a real person, not a bot, etc. So one example I have of it, Steph, is I love Aldi. I shop at Aldi all the time. And the aisle of shame is what they call it. I don't know if you've ever been to an Aldi, but like it's really great produce and cheeses and all these things for pretty cheap comparatively. But they have an aisle where you could find a cat toy and I can't think, a chainsaw. And like, so they call it the aisle of shame because like you just get stuck in there and you end up buying something. And so it's just funny. Like I think I bought some pickleball paddles and a ball like the other day, like along with the broccoli. So anyway, but it's random stuff. But the Aldi account posted on their main account, they're like, I don't know if having dino shaped chicken nuggets with a mashed potato volcano with gravy flowing out of it is going to fix all my problems, but it's definitely helping. And so in the comment section, I posted the GIF from Jurassic Park where she's like getting up out of the thing to like look at the dinosaurs for the first time, because the dinosaurs in the gravy made me think of seeing, how excited I would be to see that. And so anyway, but so I went and found that GIF from Jurassic Park, especially it is relevant right now with the new Jurassic Park movie coming out. And so posting that on there. So I'm getting likes on my GIF comment. And, like the other day, Steph, I actually responded to so ChatGPT, OpenAI, they have their own Instagram account. And so I responded with a GIF on there. And it was just kind of cool to see ChatGPT liked my comment like out in the wild, but it was a GIF comment. But anyway, it's just these ways that how can you have these little touch points that delight someone, that get attention, that's shareable, that's all the things. So one thing I was thinking about, Stephanie, is so that's on the engagement side, which I think if you're not seeing results, I've told this if Richard's watching, but he used to check his metrics like all the time, just like refresh to see how many views he was getting, or and whatever on things. And so I kind of gave him this homework. I said, every time you hit the refresh button, you have to go and leave 5 thoughtful comments on someone else's post, because that action is going to do more than you sitting there waiting for the likes to come in. And so I would almost say ignore every time you feel the urge to check your metrics to say, how many views did I get on this post? How many comments? Check yourself and say, you know what? Instead of looking at that metric, how about a metric that I cannot control? Let me look at a metric that I can control. I can go make 5 comments on other people's posts. And so it's a really great way to do that. And so we've talked engagement, but Stephanie, I think one thing, we talked about in the beginning of this, like in the chat of this, that why are you getting crickets when you're posting this content? The other thing I would love for you to expound on is this idea that sometimes you have to hold your audience's hand and tell them the action that you want them to take next, whatever that is. And we call these CTAs, or calls to action. And I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean, CTAs, man, oh man, you could spend days talking about a call to action and what is a call to action. Basically, as you just said, it's like, what is the action that we want somebody to take as a direct result of them consuming your piece of content? So if you break that down and again apply it to the type of content that you're creating on any given day, as an example, I'll give you a few of them. So if you write a blog or if you write a LinkedIn article, as an example, you can embed links into your blog, into the LinkedIn article, and you can tell or instruct or give that call to action, click here for whatever that is, right? And then you're hyperlinking. And so that's a way to drive them to take that next action. Likely it's about conversion. So, do you want them to subscribe to receive your newsletter? Do you want them to sign up to receive an exclusive discount code? Now, that's in blog, that's in LinkedIn article, whatever. Now, take that into another platform like Instagram as an example. Well, if you're using a carousel, to be able to walk them through an educational piece of content on a how to step by step, and you're also putting it in the caption, that high level summary, then you say, oh, okay, as a direct result of all of this, if you want to learn more, if you want to do this, if you want to do that, click the link in my bio. Okay, great. So you have to make sure that the link is in the bio. Wonderful. Now take that one step further. Let's repurpose that piece of content and think through an Instagram reel or an Instagram story. I like to take this approach a lot where, and Elizabeth, this is something that you taught me a couple of years ago already. Time flies when you're having fun, is when I'm putting together a story. And if somebody was to go onto my Instagram story right now, likely they would see it, where I'm even promoting our weekly Cultivate. And then I will put the link that I want somebody to ultimately tap to join or to subscribe or to learn more or to go to my website, whatever that call to action or CTA is. I will have that direct link feature and I will hide it under a cute little GIF. Tap to watch, tap to subscribe. All of those pieces are super easy. You're dropping it over and it's a direct way. So you have to teach them or lead the horse to water, literally. Sometimes I will, when I'm talking in a video, just like now, I would say things like, and if you like these 5 tips, go ahead and click the button below to get the whatever. And so I'm both visually giving the cues, but I'm also pointing them. So visually, again, they go, oh, some people, believe it or not, don't realize that there are clickable links, or if they touch a GIF in Instagram right now, that it will actually take them somewhere. So you have to kind of work with people and realize that they're at different stages of their journey. They may have just come across you because somebody referred you. Wonderful. Yay. You've got some cheerleaders out there. But also remembering that if you're not showing up a lot, you're going to have to re educate your audience each and every time about, hey, this is how I serve up my content to you. Let me know if you want more, right? So there are ways to embed the CTAs depending on the type of content that you're already producing and repurposing. Don't forget the repurpose. Back over to you, Elizabeth.
Exactly. I did see on LinkedIn that, oh, Richard's watching. That's what he said. He said he stopped looking at his analytics. I did listen. I have worked hard on the quality of content rather than on the stats. It took a while. It felt like Elizabeth had a ruler above my hand and would slap my wrists if I didn't change. It worked, uh, and the bruising on my wrist is going down. Anyway, that's funny. And Dean is here with his potato. Hi, Dean. Thank you so much for joining us today. Um, but Stephanie, I think it's just so important to ask for those things. And there's fun ways to do it. There's polling features now where you can poll, the audience. I was playing with it this week, and I was having some issues with it in Instagram because there's a way for you to add polls to your posts now, and it was just acting a fool. So I was struggling just a little bit. Um, but one thing that we've talked about, we've had whole rooms on this part of things. But guys, if you're not snagging someone's attention quickly, then they're going to go on. So there's that part too. So I hate to say this to you, but if you are boring, and Richard tells us don't be boring, then they're going to move on. Also, what do you do? Like, so Stephanie, I have a question for you because I'm going somewhere. What do you do when you're watching TV, or you're streaming a show or something, and like on YouTube, and a commercial pops up, and then the little button in the corner pops up that says skip ad? What do you do when that happens?
Well, I skipped the ad.
Exactly. So why would we fill our social media with ads that people just want to skip? Like, if you're only doing commercials and sell, 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 they are going to skip because they don't need it right now and they don't need you. So what are ways that you can combat that? And Stephanie, you've talked about this a lot, about building out the different types of posts, but especially in the uh, the realms of, so leaving the selling posts aside, what are other types of posts that we can show up with? So I'm gonna throw it back to you before I move to my next little point of
Okay.
like the buckets or pillars that
Yeah,
that.
literally, that's was like, I'm pretty sure she's talking about the content pillars. And honestly, well, we know our friend Richard is watching. That's all good. I had to put up the "Don't be boring" because that is, I think, his motto, and I agree with it wholeheartedly. I think both Elizabeth and I do. Okay, content pillars or content buckets, depends on what word you like, doesn't matter to me. But think about how you would break down your content. And I like to say it's kind of a third, and then a third, and then a third. Okay, so first bit is educational, right? This helps you establish your credibility. You can be a thought leader in a certain area, and it's all like educational content. Then the second bucket or pillar, the second third, is inspirational content. This is again, if it's whether or not you're serving up your favorite quotes, give it context as to why, or tell your own story. What are those lessons learned that you keep showing up? As I said when we did the intro, I'm 10 years in, and it's hard to believe it's been 10 years, but there's been lessons along the way. There was a lesson last week. Again, this doesn't get old, but it's new content or new learnings, new inspirational stuff that you can share out. And then the final third or bucket here in the content pillar strategy of a third, a third, a third is tell people about you, your products, and your business. So, as you said, it's not always sell, sell, sell. We do know that people do business with people. They need to know and feel, hey, like, I think I'd like to work with that person, or they get it, or I resonate with them because of. So, yes, you do need to sprinkle a little bit of all of those things in. And the mind mapping is a great tool to be able to do this. Start with an FAQ that you get a lot, right? Start with one topic that you want to cover off, and then see how you can branch out into those different pillars or buckets and break that one piece out into educational stuff. What can I teach people? How can I offer value to them? How can I inspire them to take this into a way that is meaningful to their business or their world, or if I'm an executive coach or whatever that is. And then, oh, by the way, here I am again in this, and I've been doing X for this many years. So again, it starts to tell people a little bit more about you. How does my business help you with this idea, this topic that you've identified? And then what are those service offerings? So always thinking about a third, a third, a third, sprinkling it amongst. It's educational, it's inspirational, it's about you, your business, your products or services. Hopefully that tied it all up with a little bit of a
a,
bow,
a
Elizabeth.
very, very neat bow. So Steph, we had this conversation, maybe not you and I, but the community, the digital hospitality community last week, and you can watch this on the digital hospitality podcast, like Rising Tide, and you can find last week's episode for this because it was a really fascinating conversation because it was Ask Sean, and so because normally he's the one interviewing everybody, and so we got to ask him questions. But he had a really great answer because I was asking him like one of his favorite or one of his main quotes that he gives to his media clients because he's helping them build their social media, telling their story, et cetera, is be the show, not the commercial. And so, what's wild is Michael Ungaro has done this. They made a show, a YouTube show that got picked up by Amazon Prime, but it's just about their restaurant, about the family, about things that are going on in and around. It's called Kings of Fish, if you're interested, and it's about the San Pedro fish market there. But it's a fun like reality show because you kind of follow all the peoples. Okay, being the show, not the commercial. What does that mean? We get in this mindset of we need to show up a certain way or we need to do a certain thing. And yet and I've seen this with my clients, what resonates with the audience, what gets the most engagement, what gets the most things is when you're just telling stories that are happening to you every day. And so how can you start to catalog this? But when I asked Sean about how do you help a client to be the show, not the commercial, how do you start that shift of their mindset that you're not selling fish, you're selling the family, like not really selling the family, but like the being making people feel like they're a part of the family, a part of the culture too. um and he was saying one thing that we try to do is one of the first places that they mine is is the why. Now I know Simon Sinek has his book Start with Why, and Richard will talk to you all day about that, which is amazing. But there is what is the why? So like for Sean, what is why did he start Cali Barbecue? Like why did that happen? And it was funny because I thought they started as a barbecue restaurant, but no, they started as a breakfast restaurant, but then they started to host barbecue festivals. And as the restaurant hosting the barbecue festival, they realized they probably, after like 3 years of doing it, they probably should learn, should make barbecue. And so, anyway, it shifted the whole restaurant model that they had to becoming a barbecue restaurant. But there's more into it, like his relationship with his grandfather. So when you're talking about mind mapping and talking about the why of this, why did you pursue what you pursued, and how could you take little nuggets of that, whether it's a conversation where you knew that it was time to start Take Roots, whether it was an event that you did that said, okay, that this is me in my stride, and stop talking about your stuff, but like even for me, what's the lore basically around those things. So I want to throw that out as a way to mind map is if you're selling bibs for babies, why are you doing that? Was it because of your own child? Was it because of a meal that got too messy? Was it because like it could be funny, and it doesn't have to be one why. And I think that's one place that people get snagged on is we have to have this one epic why. No, I want you to start telling all the little whys, the little clues that have been in your life this whole time. Like for me, for drawing, my sister and I, and my dad was a pastor, and we would have to, after service, when he's helping with people and doing stuff, we would have to sit still in our seats. And so I would draw pictures while I'm sitting there, and my sister would sell them. We got in so much trouble because like my dad was like, you can't be hustling people in the church with your pictures. But what are we now? I draw pictures for a living, and my sister is one of the most fantastic salespeople you have ever met. If I could ever have her join my team to sell for me, like it game over. She could sell ice to Eskimos. She's just incredible at that. But anyway, so but what are those little stories, those little nuggets throughout your life that were transformative for you, and why not retell those? So last thing I wanted to bring up before I hand it back to you, Steph, for this. This is another side note. So Stephanie, I've seen two things show up in Instagram that I have not seen before. And then there's the third thing that's going on where Google is now indexing Instagram. So another way that the algorithm, maybe it's not the algorithm, is you need to really hone down on those keywords and how you're putting them in to your excuse me, into your content. It's not just about hashtags, it's about using those keywords in your captions, saying them on video. So trying to at least get one that comes in your video, and pretty close to the beginning is a better way to do that. So we can talk about keywords at another time if you want to do that. But so Stephanie, I screenshotted this on one of my clients' posts. I'm going to show you the back end for 2 seconds. It's this line, but it says, "This reel has one of your best hooks." This is Instagram telling this to us. This reel is being shown to more people because more non-followers than usual are viewing past the first 3 seconds. So, what is Instagram trying to tell us there? We need to make that first 3 seconds enough that people want to keep watching. And when you do that, it's now letting you know, by the way, this was a really great hook. You should do more like this, because it's grabbing people's attention. It's starting off right. And so really invest time in the hooks, especially now that Instagram is showing you that. The other thing, Steph, and it hasn't shown up on mine. So I don't know if you know how the different countries get things at different times. This business account gets things at different times. But I was going to go add the poll to one of the posts I was doing for a client, and it showed up with a new thing that said quiz right there. Have you played with the quiz at all?
So I haven't played with it, but I do have it.
Oh,
And also the note that you're referring to that comes on in the back on the insights side. I've actually seen that as well on my account, but also on Facebook. So Meta, right? Because Instagram and Facebook together, I've actually seen it where it says, hey, this basically, it says this piece of content is being served up to more people because of X. And in this case, it's because they watched past these first 3 seconds, or more non-followers, as you say, are viewing it and they will serve it up. So again, while the title of today's conversation is It's Not the Algorithm, we do know that the algorithm is always changing. And this is just one example. You're respectfully, I don't believe any of us are smart enough to like break the algorithm. And so if you're always just trying to keep up with what the next thing is that you think is going to happen, which then tends to lead to inconsistency in how you're showing up, I would always recommend go for consistency first. Like just showing up is a good thing. The algorithm is going to change the way it serves up. When you have a billion people or more than a billion people on a platform, there's only so many eyes and ears to be able to see your content. That's just the realism of it all. What I would also encourage as we start to wrap up the conversation, set aside, if it's 5 minutes a day, and I know some of us can fall into the scroll of, oh, I said 5 minutes and now it's 30. Really, if you're worried about that, set a timer. But go in and start to engage with accounts that you enjoy their content, or that you can offer up that insight, or you can leave that funny gift to start the conversation. Because once that is there, um, you appear to the people that are following that other creator. And so all of a sudden, if you're offering up additional value, they're like, oh, well, like, let me check out who this Izzy Inc. is. And then you start to see more eyes and ears. You'll also notice, I'm guessing, because it's certainly happening on mine or with my account, some of the people, some of the creators that I have enjoyed following for a very long time, I see less and less and less of them. If that's happening to anyone out there right now, please, I encourage you, go back. Especially, you should know the person's handle or search them, and make sure you engage in some of their content, and it will start to come back into your feed. It's amazing, again, because there's so many people on a platform, and as soon as you start touching things, you're going to get served up more of it. So that is all algorithm. And you want to make sure that if these are your ride or dies, the people that you really get inspired from or get good ideas or whatever, make sure that you continue to. So setting aside 5 minutes a day to be in there and commenting or engaging, not really passive. Don't just hit that like, drop a comment, ask a question, do something that's meaningful, you'll start to see your feed change as well. And that should be a regular practice because I've gone back in and had to do it now. All those people that I enjoy following and reading their content, I'm seeing it more and more. So, just one final thought on that.
So, okay, here on Stephanie's Instagram, if you go up to the top where this little bell is, so you can go to any oops, I touched things. Okay, you can go to anybody's place on Instagram, tap the bell at the top, boop, and it's allowing you to choose posts, stories, reels, live videos. And you can set these settings to say, so I'm going to just touch posts, and you can have it do all of them. It'll send you a notification, the most relevant, or turn notifications off. So it's a way for you, if there's somebody that you really are missing, to bump up that information. My last thing as we are finishing up, guys, if you have not downloaded Instagram's new Edits app, please go and do so. There are some really cool features that I've been loving on here. That one of them is the teleprompter, where you can add text into, and so you could set up your camera, and this little button here will change the size of the text and the speed of it, so you can put your script in there and actually be looking at the camera and really help yourself out. And you can do little clips of this, which is really helpful. But Stephanie, one thing that's really cool is right here is the green screen. You can do both. You can have the green screen and change the background. Like, I was helping a friend out. She's teaching an English class as a second language. And so we were talking about how she can do this, but she can also, I'm going to turn my back to y'all. She can also hit, so you can see me in it. Hi, I'm in it now. But I can add the teleprompter to a green screen. Oh. So that means you can screenshot an article in your niche, have it as your background, have your face kind of like in it, and add a script of what you want to say about that particular thing. So it's another quick way to be able, or maybe you have a photo from something, or maybe there's a video that was cracking you up. One of my favorite comedians does this all the time. He plays the video in the background of people acting a fool or messing up or something, and he talks about it. So anyway, check out Edits. There's a lot of analytics stuff in it too. So please check it out. And you can switch between accounts, because I use it for myself, but I can switch over to a client account. So if you have a personal account and a professional account, you can switch between so that you're accessing it, all the things. Okay, we are over time. I hope that there were a couple things in here that you were able to pick up on if you're watching with us. Maybe it sparked a couple of ideas to just try mind mapping, to jot down those ideas of stories of all the different little whys. Don't worry about a big why. Just give me one little why of why you're doing what you're doing, or when you knew that this was the thing that you wanted to do, whatever that, that side of things is. And I will hand it to you, Stephanie, to close us out today.
See, and I feel like we could keep going for so long. One piece regarding edits, you have to remember, everyone, because that is an Instagram tool, clearly it's favored, right? So many people have been using maybe CapCut or another tool to edit things. Well, guess what? Per the features that Elizabeth just showed, from everything from teleprompter to editing to templates to create reels, they're making it super easy for you to basically do it inside the platform with a tool that they've created to be able to get you to make more content without, all of the editing and everything. It's really, and if I say this and I'm able to do it, basically anybody's able to do it.
And you
So
can
go ahead, Elizabeth.
you can share straight from Edits into Facebook and to
Exactly.
Instagram, because it's a meta thing. But there's also an export to save the video so
Yep.
that you can reshare to TikTok and LinkedIn, etc., YouTube Shorts. So it's a
There's
really
lots.
great functionality.
It truly is. And I think it's only going to get better.
Yeah,
Again, we
and you
have to
can
remember.
download the music.
Sorry.
They haven't fixed that yet. You
Oh, they
can
haven't
down
fixed that one yet?
Nope. So when you go to save your, if you're using a trending audio, and you're saving it, you can actually have the music, which is like, we'll see
Yeah.
how long that lasts.
Yeah, exactly. So save a lot of them, download a lot of them. And then again, right, that repurposing idea. Don't forget CTAs. Don't forget all of those little tips and tricks that hopefully we've sparked some inspiration in you today to keep showing up in whatever capacity you have the ability to do. It is a cups up kind of day. Thank you. Have a great day. And a reminder, Cultivate Weekly every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Mountain and 10 a.m. Eastern. If you are watching us on YouTube, go ahead and click that subscribe button. We would love to have you join our family here. All the best. Have a great week. And as I always say, yes, cups up.